evening. You're watching the explosive weekend debate right here on CNN News 18. My name is Toya Singh. We are returning this evening to a region in West Bengal where we've kept our focus over the last few weeks, Sandeshkhali. This evening, the Supreme Court announced that it would be hearing a public interest litigation, a PIL, tomorrow that was seeking the transfer of a probe to outside West Bengal. But what happened in Sandeshkhali and why do we keep our focus here again and again, day after day? In January, we're going to take you back. A team of Enforcement Directorate officials came under a mob attack when they went to raid the home of a local TMC leader, a strongman, Sahjahan Sheikh. Now, that's a name that you're actually going to hear me saying again and again in tonight's discussion. In February, a few weeks later, over the last few weeks, locals took out processions all across the Sandeshkhali region. They're demanding the arrest of Sheikh, who is now, as we see, absconding. Now, his aides, Shibu Hazra and Uttam Sardar, have been arrested over the last few days. Hazra was arrested last night. But the list of allegations against the local TMC leaders continues to grow and it becomes more and more heinous. Land grabbing, forced labor exploitation, and now allegations of gang rape. We'll double click on that because the most debate has been about that last aspect. Now, the TMC says that coming before 2024 elections, these are politically motivated claims. But as the Supreme Court turns its eye to this tomorrow, we look to understand what conditions will this troubled region require for the truth to finally emerge.
गुनाहगार है उनका गिरफ्तारी नहीं हुई है। वो विरोधी नेता जो आंदोलन के उनका गिरफ्तारी हो रही है। जो जनता निकली है वहाँ गुंडों के खिलाफ ममता बनर्जी इसको बचाव कर रही है। चुनाव में इसका खमियाजा भुगतना पड़ेगा।
Mind it, Sandeshkhali is not in Sandeshkhali. Sandeshkhali is everywhere in West Bengal.
কোনো মানুষের উপর কোনো অত্যাচার হলে মনে রাখবেন আমাদের সরকার ব্যবস্থা নেয়। একটা ঘটনা ঘটেছে, ঘটনাটা ঘটানো হয়েছে। প্রথমে ইডিকে পাঠিয়েছে, তারপরে তার বন্ধু বিজেপি ঢুকেছে ইডিকে সাথে নিয়ে।
তারপরে আমরা গিয়ে 8 তারিখে গিয়ে একটা কমপ্লেন দিই। কমপ্লেনটা থানায় আমাদের মানে নেয় না, জমা নেয় না। দিয়েছিলাম যেটা আমাকে মেরেছে কিংবা এর আগে আমার সাথে খারাপ ব্যবহার হয়েছে সেই বিষয় দিয়েছিলাম।
Okay, to take you far deeper into this entire story, we have with us a panel of experts and political voices. Let me go over to them. Let me introduce each of them. Then we'll come to our first guest. Meeran Borwankar is with us. She's the former Director General of the National Crime Records Bureau. We have Charu Pragya, a spokesperson for the BJP, Riju Dutta, a spokesperson for the TMC, and Sumitra Goenka, a social activist. Now, we'll go over to the political voices in just a second, but I actually want to first start with Ms. Borwankar. Ma'am, thank you for joining us this evening on CNN News 18. Ma'am, if I could first ask you, all the developments taking place over the last few weeks in West Bengal. First, ma'am, just tell me your initial reactions right from what happened in January when you had a team of the ED officials going there to Sandeshkhali. Tell me your reaction to all of this first, then I'll come to you with a second question, ma'am.
So, it's not uncommon in the rural areas for women to get exploited to a limited extent, but not to the extent to which we are watching now, and to get overpowered or overawed by the authorities, the uniform, and not go ahead with their complaints. So I would say that it's a typical case not only in Bengal, but in many other places in the country where women are being exploited sexually and otherwise, and they keep quiet, but suddenly they come out. But in this particular case, I also see very strong political overtones. So that's my first reaction.
Okay, ma'am, can you highlight what you mean when you say political overtones? I ask you that because obviously on one side you have the TMC saying all of this is coming out before the elections, the BJP is communalizing this. On the other side you have the BJP saying that the TMC is not running the show correctly across the state of West Bengal. So do you mean to say the political overtones are on both sides, or are you talking about one side in particular?
No, both sides. One side is probably trying to suppress the gravity of the situation, and the other side trying to exploit. But my emphasis would be to get the complaints, to not only name the accused who are not named, to get them identified, to give protection to the victims, to engage special prosecutors for the case, to go in for immediate trial through special court. Okay. So instead of politicizing by suppressing or by blowing it all over the country, a professional approach and, if possible, probably court-monitored investigation.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm actually going to ask you to almost repeat what you just said with a different question. If I were to ask you, ma'am, because you said that this is actually a situation that one will see in a few different parts of the country. It's not something that is entirely unique to West Bengal, and that suppression in this manner, exploitation in this manner does happen sometimes. I do want to ask you, ma'am, because so many reporters, not just our organization, reporters from multiple publications have said that there is an atmosphere of fear. So, ma'am, then let me ask you, what does it look like to create an atmosphere that empowers people to come forward in a space like this, in a situation like this?
In fact, it's very strange that like we handled such a case in 93s and 1994s, and that it's happening in the this century in 2024. So I would say that grassroots level interaction between governance and citizens, that must have been lacking. That we did not realize it in West Bengal, that the situation is so grave that not one but a huge number of women are being exploited. So I am of the strong opinion that a court monitored investigation and immediate trial and victim protection. Otherwise, again, though women are coming forward today, they may be threatened and they may go back. So right. Immediate trial, I would say, is what I see the way out.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm going to go over to our other guests now. We have some political voices here. We'll go over to them. Let's go over first to Riju Dutta, spokesperson for the TMC, who's with us right now. Mr. Dutta, thank you for joining us this evening on CNN News 18. Mr. Dutta, I'll take to you a few questions. Before we go ahead, because we've actually had versions of this conversation over the last few days with both the BJP and the TMC, and in some ways we've almost watched the contours of this conversation play out a few times, I will ask the TMC, I know every party indulges in what about in the BJP states, for example. That's a common approach to this argument. But I do want for tonight us to focus to the degree that we can on the women in Sandeshkhali. Sir, 2 or 3 key questions to ask you right now. Question number 1, sir. As we speak, Sheikh Sahjahan not yet suspended from the TMC. Why is that? What's taking so much time? Right now, we just watched a bite from Mamata Banerjee where she said this is a minor issue being blown out of proportion. So, would you agree? Do you think this is a minor issue being blown out of proportion?
Is the case. Let me just explain this sensitive matter to you. There are 2 sides of the story. First, we saw that after ED got beaten up when they tried to investigate Sheikh Sahjahan, and then he has been absconding since then. But after 10 days post that, hordes of women, they came out in the open, they came to the media and they said that we have been tortured, right? Now, Sheikh Sahjahan is nowhere in the picture. The other 2 people they were talking about. Before 6th of February, not a single complaint of sexual abuse or rape was filed. And I'm saying this on record. And my DGP has said the same. After that, just yesterday, one woman filed an 164 in front of the magistrate. And based on that report, one of the aides of Sheikh Sahjahan, Shibu Hazra, is already arrested by West Bengal police. Uttam Sardar had allegations of multiple hearsay allegations, but had written complaints of land grabbing against him. Both of these are elected representatives of Trinamool Congress, who are both behind bars now. So the angle is this. One, Mamata Banerjee has not spared her own men. She has done her Raj Dharma, both of them are behind bars. Second, if these women, that BJP and other political parties are saying that they have been tortured for 10 odd years, It is a rural province in Bengal where BJP is the key opposition party, the chief opposition party, and there is Congress and CPM. Why before 6th February, before ED got beaten up, why none of these opposition parties even raised their voices?
Okay. Sir, just stay with us. So, 1 second. That's a very important point. 1 second. Ms. Pragya, I'll come back to you with exactly that question in a second. Let me just ask Mr. Dutta a follow-up question, but I want the BJP to answer to that. Where were they before this? Mr. Dutta, I do want to ask you though, similar can be said for the TMC. If what you're doing right now is you're saying, okay, let's place the sexual harassment allegations on one side, we'll do that. There are other allegations, land grabbing, for example, and there are multiple voices from the ground. So this is not a political story entirely. Reporters from every channel as we speak are down there. Enough reports flood the internet right now about the kind of land grabbing malpractices that were taking place there for more than 5 years, sir. Where was the TMC?
TMC, this is a place where TMC has kept on winning. Like I said, if my party is doing wrong, say for example in BJP, if somebody is doing corruption in BJP, it is the job of the opposition to raise that voice. If TMC was doing wrong, what was these other parties do? Where they try to grab the headline?
No. I promise you, I will go to the BJP to ask them exactly this. That's my job. You're not answering the question I'm asking you though. Where was the TMC, sir? Land grabbing that we're talking about, sir. Several very serious accusations coming forward from workers on the ground.
Forget what Riju Dutta has to say. What the Chief Minister of Bengal has said today, when Uttam Sardar, one of the aides of Sheikh Sahjahan, got arrested 4 days ago, he was arrested not because one of the villagers who were giving bites on the television has made a complaint. No, he was arrested because the Chief Minister asked the police to file a suo motu cognizance. And after that suo motu cognizance, he was arrested. Now, I will give you one key aspect. And Charuji, I respect her, she can make a point. On the flip side, I will not go on Bharat Brahman like you have told me, Toya. So I will stick to Bengal. In Bengal, there is this gentleman called Mr. Shomik Bhattacharya. Okay, he was a contestant in 2021 for the Vidhan Sabha elections. He had a case of rape and molestation against him by a woman called Ananda Chatterjee, who did door to door with his video chats and his audio tapes, and he subsequently lost the election. Do you know where is Shomik Chatterjee now? He has been sent to Rajya Sabha by the BJP from Bengal.
Okay, on that note, so I think that's a good place to go now to the BJP. Let's let them answer that point. Charu Pragya with us. Ma'am, if I could ask you first, just address everything, because Riju Dutta has made a few points. Then I'll come to you with a follow-up question.
Yeah. Absolutely, and Toya, I request you to give me an uninterrupted minute for this. Let's understand that the main accused in this entire case, Sheikh Sahjahan, is called Bhai. He is a Bahubali of the region, and you know what a Bahubali means, you know what a Bhai means. Meera ma'am is on your show, she's been a cop, she understands the meaning of Bhai. It is basically a slang for criminal. It is basically a slang for someone who will arm twist you to get whatever he wants, whether it is grabbing land, whether it is drug peddling, or in this particular case that we're discussing right now, sexual assault of women, which has gone on for a very long period of time, a very systematic sexual assault which has gone on for a very long time. Why the women have not spoken out earlier? They were scared. Even right now, most of them are scared. They are scared because they are being threatened with dire consequences to their families, to their children, to their husbands. It's difficult to speak out. And this is not the India of 30 years ago. If they speak out today, I expect political leaders across party lines to rally behind them. As has happened in this case, it's not just the Bharatiya Janata Party which is protesting and pointing fingers. It's also the left. It is also the Congress. And all these fingers are pointed firmly towards TMC. I have two very pertinent points to note. Now you're saying, why is there no proper FIR, and Mamata Didi has already gotten 2 people arrested. But the kingpin is not behind bars. In fact, this entire thing started because ED officers were beaten up when they went to do their job. They were merely there to do a job, and the TMC netas actually pushed them down with the mob. 3 of them got injured. FIR has a history in West Bengal. Last time, after post-poll alliances, women were not able to file FIR against TMC leaders. So much so that many of them came knocking to the door of the Supreme Court in Delhi. And it is the Supreme Court which had to instruct West Bengal police to go ahead and file an FIR at least. And that's when you do all the other follow-up things. So this has happened. The Supreme Court in the past violence cases has also said that a notice has to be sent out to all 400 accused. So does this not talk of a collusion between the Trinamool Congress and the state police.
Okay.
Does this not talk
Ms.
of a
Pragya,
situation
let me come to you now with a question. We have given you an uninterrupted few minutes. I do want to ask you though, ma'am, one of the key questions... Yes,
thank you, and I appreciate it.
Of course, and Riju Dutta, I promised to give you the same. I just want to ask you, ma'am, though, as a follow-up question, one of the key counterpoints that is coming up to what the BJP has had to say in the last few days is that there is a certain communal colour that the BJP has lent this entire argument. Wouldn't the BJP's voice, they argue, have been far more effective if the familiar Hindu-Muslim story that we've heard would not have been added here?
So there is no Hindu-Muslim story. Let's understand that we are blaming a Uttam Sardar as much as we are blaming a Sheikh Sahjahan. They belong to two different religions and both of them are equally to blame. But here, when the women are
Minister
saying they were
Rani,
targeted
when
for
she
their
first,
age,
when she first flagged
color,
this issue...
I'm getting there. Can I please...
Let me tell our audiences that too.
Just listen to me.
1 second.
I know, she said that.
Yeah, she did. She used very, very clean phrasing there that very much seemed like it was a Hindu versus Muslim thing. Right?
I'll quote her verbatim. I'll quote her verbatim. That is because the perpetrators were targeting women for being Hindu. Maybe, I don't know what is the reason behind that, but the fact is, and the women themselves have said this, they were targeted because of the way they looked, their color, their age, and their religion. So I am quoting verbatim the words out of the victims' mouths, and that is exactly what Smriti ma'am was quoting when she talked about this. And the Hindu-Muslim angle would come in if we would say Sardar Uttam ko jaane do or Sheikh Sahjahan ko pakad lo. We are not saying that. One more very important point which the Trinamool does not answer. You have allowed a man to go scot-free. He is not even been kicked out of the TMC for the same crime that another man is behind bars for. Why are you not taking action against Sheikh Sahjahan? Why is it that the Chief Minister continues to shield him? Is it because you're hiding secrets that are darker than even what we are discussing right now?
Ms. Pragya, let me go over to Riju Dutta with that. And I do want to say, first, let me quickly apologize. Sumitra Goenka, I'm sorry we haven't come over to you till now. Let me just go over very quickly to Riju Dutta. Mr. Dutta, I promised an uninterrupted few minutes. Please go ahead. But, sir, I will tell you, as you answer, the question I'm actually looking to answer is, where is Sheikh Sahjahan, sir? This is a question we've asked last week too. Where is Sheikh Sahjahan?
Now, I'll start off by one of the coinage that Charuji used, and Meeran madam is here. She said, Bhai means gunda, drug peddler, whatnot. Please, Charuji, I hope you should have a conversation with Meeran madam, because Bhai in certain religion, which you guys do not like, Bhai means an elder brother, and it's a common coinage that is used all over India.
So, but multiple... One second, Mr. Datta, 1 second. No, I interrupted Charu too earlier. I'm going to interrupt you.
No, Mr. Datta, don't twist my words. A Bahubali and Bhai, they mean a gunda.
Also, 1 second, let me just tell our audiences, Mr. Datta, this is one thing where reporters across channels, multiple media agencies are in agreement. Every reporter on the ground is finding them to be agreeing on one thing. It does seem as if Sheikh Sahjahan was running a fiefdom, sir. There doesn't seem to be much disagreement.
I'm coming to that. Now, Sheikh Sahjahan is guilty as per BJP and other political parties. Now, how do you pronounce somebody guilty if there are written? Now, Sheikh Sahjahan is absconding for 40 odd days. He is not there. His aides are already arrested. So, nobody is pressurizing the villagers now. Till today, right now when I am on your debate, there is not a single written complaint.
Mr. Datta, 1 second. Mr. Datta, 1 second. No. You're speaking to 3 women, sir. I do want to point that out because when you say, 1 second, when you say that there is no pressure because he's absconding for 40 days, sir, pressure doesn't work like that. You've had pressure on women for 5 years. You can't expect them 40 days he's missing for them to come out and suddenly gain their voice, sir.
Okay, forget the women. Let's talk about the men also of Sandeshkhali. It's not a women's village full of women. There are men who have been...
Right, sir, but if these people have been subjugated for 5 years, sir, they're not suddenly going to gain their voice.
So, subjugated for 5 years, no opposition parties came to their aid apart from coming on CNN, News18 and shouting about it. Sheikh Sahjahan is absconding. Okay, Sheikh Sahjahan is absconding. Now, we know, Toya, in India, there are other people also absconding like Mehul Choksi and Nirav Modi. Sheikh Sahjahan is absconding. I will tell you this. The Sandeshkhali area, after the 50-kilometer delimitation, falls under the jurisdiction not only of West Bengal Police, but BSF as well. There is a lookout notice by the ED. The leader of opposition of West Bengal, Shubhendu Adhikari, has said it in front of media that I have floating locations of Sheikh Sahjahan. So why doesn't the leader of opposition provide those locations to BSF or ED? Forget West Bengal government. Third point I'm coming. Partho Chatterjee, our ex-education minister, Jyotipriya Mollik, our ex-forest minister, are behind bars, arrested by the ED and CBI. No untoward incident happened. Why did it happen with Sheikh Sahjahan when ED went? Because the CRPF that went with the ED officers, they used communal slurs in an area which is dominated by the minorities.
Okay.
You have to understand why it did not happen with ministers. And last but not the least, I agree with whatever Charuji is saying. If somebody has perpetrated this crime, he should be booked behind bars and the keys should be thrown away. But can BJP say the benchmark they are setting for Sheikh Sahjahan and they are blaming Mamata Banerjee for shielding him? Can Charuji say the same thing about Brij Bhushan Saran Singh and Shomik Bhattacharya and Narendra Modi shielding molesters of Olympians sitting in the parliament?
Mr. Dutta, the questions you've asked, particularly the ones in the end, those are all accurate. I'm not taking away from them. Let me quickly go over to the social activist who's with us, Sumitra Goenka. Ma'am, you've heard both sides. I'm just going to come to you to ask you, because these are voices we're getting in from the ground over the last 5 years, but really the focus has been over the last few days. Some voices seemingly getting empowered, but it seems what Mr. Dutta is suggesting right now is that if in 40 days plus only one voice has come forward, that really isn't proof. Mr. Dutta, correct me if I'm phrasing you wrong, but Ms. Goenka, what is your response?
Toya, I think Mr. Dutta is trying to just, trivialize the issue. First of all, we have to understand where is Sandeshkhali, to understand what is actually going on there. This region is just bordering to the Bangladesh. And there are 14 Vidhan Sabhas actually which are bordering Bangladesh, which are facing these kind of situations due to constant infiltration. It is a matter where a certain religious community is being targeted. There is an exodus happening of Hindus from that area because a lot of Rohingyas and Muslims are targeting specific Hindu communities. And this is a fact. I have got various people on the ground with whom I have communicated because I am myself from Bengal. And I have various people who have given me some accounts about what is happening in that area. See, this area is very high in smuggling of cows, human trafficking, drugs and other things. And this Mr. Sheikh Sahjahan was one of the kingpins who made crores of rupees in this area doing all these activities. So it is not such a simple situation. He was a terror in that area. And the women who are suffering, if you, they are finding it very difficult to go and register FIRs because they are under constant threat. There are people who have not been even treated in those areas and they have come to Kolkata. Couple of them have problems like the head is broken, there is an amputation of the leg and these kind of things. And these areas, they are in the Sundarban areas. So it is very difficult to reach these areas. Also, they are quite remote, even though we say it is 70 to 80 kilometers away from Kolkata. But these are not easy regions. Some of them are islands as well. So this is the demographics of that area which is constantly being targeted by a certain section of people, and the vote bank politics is playing hard games here. So
okay,
this is something.
Ms. Goenka, I do want to go over. I do want to go over to Mr. Dutta. Mr. Dutta, I'm sorry, I've seen you raise your hand a few times. I wanted to give ma'am a chance to speak because we haven't given her that opportunity till now. Sir, I know you have responses.
Can I just complete, because I think I just wanted to make a couple of points. So here this area, especially you have to note that this is an area where there are more Dalit people, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes people also. So this is a area which people are really very poor. They are deprived of education. They are deprived of basic things in life. FIR and all is something which, we talk about sitting in cities. But people who are sitting in these remote areas, they are really scared for their livelihood. They have no other means. So this is a situation which warrants attention from across the country because this has been sidelined. And I'm very happy right now that Supreme Court has taken cognizance of this and it has got the national news. There were reports that even media was suppressed in West Bengal by the ruling TMC, that these kind of reports don't come out in the open area. So this is a matter, I think, which needs immediate attention. And like Meera ma'am was saying, that the witnesses needs to be protected because still they are not even able to take the names of some of the accused, even though they are in the hospitals right now in the city, because they are so scared about this constant thing which is happening there, and you will also notice that there is an exodus of people. There are various social activists who have been murdered.
Ma'am, let me just, one second, let me take, because you're raising a number of points, let me just take them to Riju Dutta, because we do need to go back to the TMC again and again for accountability. So I know you're going to want to respond to what Ms. Goenka has said, do that, but please also answer the key questions I'm about to be asking you. Question number one, sir. It's very easy right now for the TMC to suspend two leaders that they still haven't suspended. We're talking about Shibu Hazra. We're of course also talking about Sheikh Sahjahan. You have twice in the show, sir. Once when I've asked you why hasn't the TMC done more in the last 5 years, you've said why didn't the opposition raise this issue earlier? Secondly, when I asked you where is Sheikh Sahjahan, sir, you said why doesn't the ED take him into custody? They should know. So you're shifting the blame again and again from the TMC. To your credit, sir, Mamata Banerjee is known nationwide for her fearless voice. Again and again, as you were pointing out, she's lifted female MPs and particularly women who are outspoken. Sir, I'm not taking away that credit, but I don't think, sir, that answers the question over here. The question today that we're talking about, multiple women in villages coming out and raising their voice.
No, see, the women, they have raised their voice. Today, I was hearing Sumitra ji very closely. Sandeshkhali today, if you send your reporters today and if you see from your Bengali counterpart, which is News18 Bangla, you will see children are going and giving their plus 2 exams. For the last 72 hours, Sandeshkhali is absolutely peaceful. There is no untoward incident there. Yes, it's a border village. Fine. But when Sumitra ji says it is known for cow smuggling and everything across the border, who protects the border? Now, is Sumitra ji trying to insinuate that TMC controls the BSF? My God, TMC has subdued the voices of the media, so TMC controls the media as well. So then why is BJP wasting their time even
we have a minute.
Please.
Yes, I'm coming to that. See, bottom line is...
Not divert the situation.
We are talking about Sheikh Sahjahan. Madam, can I finish?
Can I come in, Toya? Can I come in, please?
Ms. Pragya, I've actually been told, all right, I'm going to take our final question because we are running out of time and I do just have time for one last question over here.
I'll be very quick.
Ma'am, no, I can't. I actually have to go over to Meeran Borwankar for one last question because we haven't actually, we've just went to her in the beginning and then we didn't go to her at all after that. Ma'am, I'm sorry. I did want to bring in these political voices because this is a complex political story apart from what's happening on the ground. But I do want to ask you, ma'am, you started our show by telling us that situations like this are playing out across the country. This story obviously is particularly grievous, but this is a situation that needs attention. Tell our audiences, ma'am, we've talked about what can be done in this investigation in particular, but to prevent situations like this from taking place in the first place, where you have fiefdoms getting formed over 5 years, 6 years, those who are agriculturally backward, who aren't so well off being exploited, how can situations like this be prevented?
So first of all, we have to ensure that there is no failure on the part of governance. Here, even if there is no collusion, I see a very distinct failure on the part of government officers reaching out to citizens and citizens getting so scared of these bullies that they never approached government officials at various levels. After all, there is a DM, there is an SP of a district. And secondly, let's not make it either an Hindu-Muslim issue. It's a pure exploitation of the weaker and the marginalized sections, and let's concentrate on getting written complaints. The point that there is only one complaint as yet is very serious. If so many women are coming forward and saying that they have been exploited and men have also been exploited, lands have been grabbed, how come we have only one complaint? So let's take it a very professional case of exploitation of the weaker sections and then investigate it. Tomorrow the Supreme Court is hearing the case, but my feeling is that court monitored investigation and quick trial will ensure that this doesn't happen either here or anywhere else in the country.
Okay, I'd like to thank all of our panelists for taking out time tonight and joining us here on the show. With that, we are drawing our show to a close. Thank you for staying with us. Tomorrow, we'll keep an eye on what the Supreme Court has to say. This is the Explosive Weekend Debate on CNN News 18.